200 days in ecosystem in this world of only 30 centimeters, cruel and tender, like a song of life constantly depicting the complexity and magic of nature. Of course, the starting point of the world still needs to start with an 8-handed fish tank. The landscape is made of soil, starting with aquatic plants in the middle. Sand, stones, and a large amount of dust are added after 10 days of circulation. The water is extremely deep, dyed by the dust. The glass and wood are also covered with dirt, so some snails appeared after the snails. A male cod also entered the new home. Their appearance gave the place a sense of life. Soon, the time came to the 30th day. In order to simulate the natural environment, some pond or river water can be collected as long as it is placed in a place with sufficient light for a few days. Microorganisms will begin to reproduce. They are the key part of the ecosystem and also the natural food of fish. Of course, everything has its advantages and disadvantages. The water will also become more dirty, so we need some small shrimps to clean up the garbage in the water in normal conditions. The cod is aggressive, but so far, everything seems to be going in the right direction with the growth of new plants and the death of old plants. The surface of the water is gradually covered by floating plants. As a result, the plants at the bottom of the water are difficult to access the light at this time. We need a glue ring at the same time as blocking the growth of floating plants. It can also make the surface of the water look more beautiful. As time goes by, the water becomes deeper. At this time, thunder and lightning. The hard surface of the water emits a flickering glow. The animals are alert to find a place to hide. Then there is a wind. The rain falls violently. All kinds of creatures are hiding in different ways. Fortunately, this storm lasted only a few days. On the 60th day, a graceful carp came to this world. The carp was very happy and showed off its advantages. Half an hour later, it began to build a bubble nest. The bubble nest is a place for fish eggs to grow. It also told the carp that it was ready to mate. After a warm-up exercise, the two fish returned to the main topic. They began to entangle each other. The whole mating process lasted about an hour. When the mating is over, the fish will begin to lay eggs. At this time, the carp will collect the fish eggs below because the fish eggs are very small and difficult to see, so the carp wants to transfer them to the bubble nest. This is their instinct. Does it feel amazing? A few days later, the eggs began to hatch, but at this time they can't swim, so the carp will catch the disobedient fish, put them back in the bubble again and again. A week later, the carp's work is fine. The fish have learned how to swim. On the 100th day, the 18 red worms were all put in. At this historical moment, the carp can only record with saliva. At this moment, the joy of the fish and the worm are the same because the baby worms that were born before were only two. Very soon, it came to the 125th day. The original two sides of the fish tank were added. 2 additional water tanks used to accommodate the 2 baby worms. During this period, the surface of the water was gradually occupied by floating plants. Some plants even turned red, and on the surface of the water that was not occupied there is a thin layer of oil film forming. Although it looks disgusting, but this is a common part of the wildlife ecosystem. On the 135th day, the fish grow very fast and start their own journey in the water tank on the right. In the original main world, there are only fish and a group of small shrimps. These little guys are the example of modern cattle and horses. Other than sleeping, they are also working, and they don't pick up food. Even the fish feed can be eaten, so you have to add a few in the fish tank. Of course, not all fish and shrimps can get along peacefully, but small shrimps have a physical advantage so that some timid fish can only hide under the leaves. On the 150th day, this little world is full of new creatures. The first is the little elf. The little elf is the leader of the 3 swords. It can solve the trouble of wiping the glass for the master. Then the killer snails are added. The killer snails are very interesting. They always like to treat the leaves as a parachute or treat themselves as a parachute, and the main job of the killer snails is to remove impurities from the water to prevent impurities from erupting and causing ecological imbalance. On the 170th day, the fish grow fast and form their own colors. The blue spots on the body are the sign, for since they were born these two have been in the same water tank, but as the age grows the male fish will gradually develop a sense of ownership, so they can't avoid fighting. So now it's time for them to live separately. For the gradually mature fighting fish, the food is not the only thing. Those random solutions and flies are their unexpected surprises. These flies don't fly. If you want to live, you can only choose to climb the glass. Likely to be eaten, of course. Climbing the glass can't escape the risk of being eaten. For wild fish, the wood will naturally fall into the water. As the water soaks, the wood will release tannin, making the water brown. Tannin can reduce the acidity in the water to create a more suitable environment for some fish that like acidic water. Insects are the source of fish's high protein. This kind of food will make the fish perform well when it enters the breeding stage. This white spot on the belly of the fish is where the eggs are produced. Before breeding, separate the male and female fish with a card so they can't see each other all the time. On the 190th day, get a new water tank for breeding. This time the setting is different from the previous one. Take 2 leaves of almond, add tannin to the water and a fish tank with a heater. Let the fish fall in first, give it some time to settle down, then put the fish in. Very soon, both fish have reacted and start to show the best side to each other. But this is not the time for the fish to come in because the male fish has not built the bubble nest. A few hours later, after the bubble nest is built, it's time to let the fish mother leave the isolation river. After a while, the fish mother slowly approached and moved gently in the water. The fish father tried to hold her. They roamed around each other until they found the right place. The breeding action officially began. When the fish father let go, the fish mother would become a little sluggish, lying there motionlessly. This is what happened when she gave birth. Then they did it again and again. Every time they gave birth to about 20 fish eggs. There was a lot of breeding here at first. Then all the fish eggs were picked up, put in the bubble nest. After the breeding is over, the fish father's awareness of the territory will increase dramatically, so we have to remove the fish mother as soon as possible. In the next day, the fish eggs will gradually become small fish eggs, and the task of the fish father is to gather them all together. Make sure there are no fish eggs the next day. There are big fish eggs everywhere. At this time they still rely on the life of the egg yolk, so they can't move freely, but the fish grow very fast. They can move freely on the 3rd day. So far it's been about 200 days. This little world, it's like a reflection of nature. Let us feel the wonder and greatness of life. It's not just a landscape, it's a microcosm full of vitality and stories. Maybe there will be new changes and challenges in the future, but I believe in the wisdom and adaptability of life. This little world will continue to prosper to bring us more advice about nature and life. Alright, friends, I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Bye.